Today I'm about to be showing y'all how to do a brake job on a 2019 Ford Transit. Now I'm not exactly sure on what year Transit this gonna be exactly the same one, but I know this is a 19 Transit. We're gonna be doing 4 tires today. So tires all around. We're gonna be doing brakes all around, front brakes, rear brakes, and rotors, brake pads and rotors. So I want to show you how to do the brake job on these, because these are a little different than your traditional brake job. I believe on these you have to remove the hub for these, if I'm not mistaken. So not all brake job the same. There's levels to it. So first thing we did was remove the cap. We covered up the lug nuts. But anyway, you have 5 lug nuts. Once you take it off, you got your 5 lug nuts. These are 21. You remove your 21. Let's do that right now. Watch it. So this is what you're gonna be greeted with once you take the wheels off. So what we're doing here is, as you can see, your rotors sit behind your hub. So you cannot take the rotors off without removing the hub. Well, you can remove the hub and the rotor together or at one as an assembly. So what we're gonna do first though is we're gonna remove the caliper. So I believe this is a 13 millimeter bolt on the caliper bracket or on the caliper itself. And then you take a caliper off, and then I believe this is a 21. I believe we are good here. There we go. I'm gonna keep it in, so when I'm taking the bottom bolt off, the caliper does not move on me. I'm gonna do the same thing at the bottom. I believe it's loose enough. Yep, I can use my finger to take it off. That's off. Now you want to wiggle your caliper off. You want to find something to keep your caliper elevated, because you don't want to put a lot of stress on your brake line, especially if your caliper is heavy. You don't want to put that much stress on your brake line. So I just hang it up on the strut up top, and then you can use a flat here to remove the brake pads, or use your fingers. That's our brake pads right there. So now we're gonna remove our caliper bracket. That is a 21. Like I may or may not need my swivel, but I'm going to try without this. If you have a short 21, you should be good. If you don't, let me see. You should be good without. Yeah, I got enough room. So that's the bottom one. That's the top. Here go the bottom right here. The bottom is off. All out. Caliper bracket is out the way. We're gonna go ahead and put a lug nut right here. So now what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna remove 4. There is 5 13 millimeters bolts right here on the hub. See these right here? 12 millimeter, not 13. And this do have Loctite on them. That's what I'm using, an impact and not a wrench, because a ratchet, because you see that it has green Loctite on them. So I took only 4 off, right? I left the 1 in there for a reason. If you never did this before and haven't seen a video on how to do it, you gonna think that all you need to do is just remove these to remove your caliper. I mean, to remove your hub or remove the rotors. You know, it's not how you do it. In a second, I'm about to show you. So, if you look in these holes, you see how you got a hole right here that the nut go in. Then you have another one that is empty. You got bolt, empty. You got bolt, empty. Bolt, empty. Bolt, empty. The reason for that is because this is a pass-through. If you look in this hole right here and rotate your hub, you're going to see a star bit right there. See that guy right there? See that guy right there? That has to come off. Yes, it does. So these bolts right here, this bolt, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, this holds the hub onto the rotors. I'm gonna say it again. These 5 bolts, 1, 2, that I just took 4 off, that holds your hub onto the rotors. This guy this one on the inside, this star bit on the inside, that holds your rotors onto the hub assembly. Not this hub. Well, your knuckle, I guess you can call it the knuckle, right? This guy right here. It holds your rotors onto that. That's how all this is mounted. So if you just take this guy off and not that, it's not gonna work. It's not. You're gonna be here smacking the hell out this rotor trying to get it off. That is not gonna come off. I actually saw somebody do it. All 5 of these have to come off before your rotors can come out. If you don't remove them, it's not gonna come out. So you're gonna need, what size is this? It's a T50. This is a T50. It has to be long enough and skinny enough to fit through this hole. So you need a torque bit that is skinny enough and that is long enough to fit in here. This is a T50. If you take a traditional torque bit, something like this, it's not gonna work because this is too thick. This is too wide to go in that hole, and it's not making contact, and it's not even that long to even make contact with it. So that's not gonna work. You're gonna need something slim. That's why I have this. This is slim enough to fit in here, and it's long enough to make contact with my star bit in here. Loctite on there as well. So that's one. Ooh. Look what just happened. My caliper fell. I don't have a bungee cord or something to lock it in. So be careful, don't get smacked in the head. That's 3. Last one, and that's 5. So now you gotta get it out, right? Use a magnet. If you have a magnet, you can use a magnet to get it out, or you can kind of finagle by using this right here. You can kind of, see how I just did that? I'm gonna do it again. Doing this, I'm getting in here and I'm putting the friction on it, so I'm lifting up a bit. Do it again. So you want to put your torque bit in there and lift up. So I'm going like this. I'm lifting up on it and pulling it. See that? Of course, it's gonna be easier if you're using using a magnet. It's gonna be much easier. But if you don't have a magnet that can fit in there, you can try this way. Okay, one more. Boom. That's all 5 of them right there. Now that you got it loose, you want to be careful because you don't want that hub falling on your head. Boom. So now, what you got to do, since you got the whole thing loose, is now you can smack your rotor because you're replacing the rotor anyway. So you can go ahead and smack the rotors from here, from the side, I have in my hammer right here. And I'm gonna put that. That is how you take your rotors off. It comes out with your hub. So this is your guy here, and you have your wheel speed sensor over there. It reads this magnet right here. That's why I said don't smack on here, because you're gonna damage it. So you want to smack on the rotor itself, because this is how your wheel speed sensor is read. Anyway, this is the back of it. This is the rotors. Just flip it over. You can take your last 15, right? No, that was a 12 millimeter. Go ahead and take the last 12 millimeter. Let me remove my step up. Jeez, a lot going on here, man. That shit to my gun. And now we can take it off. So now, what you do is, you smack your rotors back off. So you go. What I want to do is, you want to rotate. Matter of fact, I bring the rules here. You want to rotate the hub to line up with the hose back. See how you got this little, what's it called, arc? Got the arc right here. So you want to line up these ears with the arcs. So you have 5 of them. There's 1 right there. There's 2 right there in the rotors. 1, 2, 3, and you got 5 ears. So you want to line them all up with the rotors. So when you smack the rotors off, this is going to pass through the arc to come off. If you have it like this, where it's not lined up, the hub is going to be hitting the rotor, so it's not going to come out because it's going to be hitting it. So you want to line it up like that, so they can easily just pass through it and come out like that. That's why, and I want to show y'all the hub. You don't want to hit that. You want to hit the rotors itself. So we going. It's coming off. It's still lined up. It is. Now it's loose. Wiggle it off. That's your hub assembly. This is your rotor. So now I'm gonna grab the rotors and try to match it up to make sure it's the exact same one, because there is a couple variants of these rotors. They look the same, but the threads, the bolts hole don't match up. It be offset a bit. So you wanna make sure you got the right one before you try to assemble everything back on. So I'm about to go ahead and grab my rotor right now and try them. So I'm going my new rotors. I'm measuring the thickness to make sure it's the exact same thickness, which it is. This is an invented rotor, which this one is as well. So now we gotta measure, not measure, but we gotta make sure these holes lined up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip the rotors like this, like that. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the bolt. And bolt through them. I'm gonna bolt through it and try to line that hole up. Make sure all of them is lined up like that. You can go ahead and use the tool here. I mean, obviously you're not locking them in, so you don't need nothing tight. So I'm going to go ahead and use my 3/8 driver. Come on, bro. So that's in both rotors right there. Like I said, doing this to make sure the hole lined up correctly. Okay. All got in there. It looked like that's not lined up, so I'm going to shift it a little bit. I don't think that's lined up. Real quick. So for a fact, I know that that's not lined up, that's not lined up, that's not lined up, and neither is this one. So we just might have an issue here. So none of these are completely lined up. With one bolt in there, these are not really lined up. So this could be the wrong one. But there's one more thing I'm gonna try to verify this. One more thing. Take it off. So we're gonna take this guy back out. Okay, that's out. I'm gonna try to install this on here and see if it actually works. And to do this, you wanna figure out how to, so the rotors goes like this, and your hub sit like this. So which means this sits down, this goes in here like that, and you wanna try to line them up, and it's not lining up. I'm gonna show you. So if you look in your holes, see this is not lined up, that's not lined up, that's not lined up. See, none of them are lined up. And mind you, this is how the hub, bolts onto the rotors. So if the hole doesn't line up, then you cannot do that. You won't be able to do it. But look at that. That won't go in there. This won't go in here. This won't go in here. This won't go in here. And that won't go in there. So they're not lining up. Which means this rotors is not the right one. So I gotta take this back. Well, they gotta come and get this and bring another one, because this is not it. They don't line up. See what I mean by they look exactly the same, but they don't be lining up? But if you look in this hole here, you have the hole for this to go into right there. And that lines up, this lines up, this lines up. So this lines up, but you cannot, but it don't line up with the hub. If you look in these holes, they are lined up perfectly fine. It's not upset. They're all lined up. This one does not line up. So that's how we know it's the wrong rotor. So this has to go back, unfortunately. So the fact that the front rotor was wrong, I'm gonna take off the back wheels and try to make sure that this rear rotor is also, well, try to make sure the rear rotor is not the wrong one. Because if it is, they gotta take both of them back. They're also going to have to check the brake pads as well. So I'm just about to take this brake. I'm gonna take this apart, take the wheels off, the caliper, the brake pads, and the rotors off, and I'm gonna show you how to do that also. So this rear brakes is electronic. So you need a scanner. You need a scanner to disengage the piston on here, or use another tool, whatever it is that you got to disengage the piston on here. I have a scanner that I'm going to use, so I got to bring this car back down to disengage the piston, and I'm going to show you how to do that also. So we are going to be using the Launch diagnostic scanner to retract the brakes. So we're going to do auto detect, reading the VIN number, decoding the VIN. This is not an EV, so we're going to hit the regular Ford. So now that we're in here, we go into diagnostic. It's going to connect with the computers. Let's turn the ignition switch on. It's already on. Loading. %, 70. Okay. So now that we are in here, this is all the computer that's available. Well, that's not all the computers available in this vehicle. This is all the computers that are available in the Ford Transit 2019. If I do high speed, high speed scan, it's gonna scan all these computers. If one come out as gray, that means that this specific vehicle does not have that module. If it comes out as white, like right now how they are white, it haven't been scanned yet. If it come out as blue, that means it's been scanned. Red, abnormal, meaning it had like diagnostic code in there. There's something going on. Green, it's normal. It passed. Nothing wrong with it. But we're not doing that. What we're gonna do is we are going to go to common function up here. Not this. So up, no, I don't want you. Up here where it says common function, we're gonna hit this, and it's gonna bring you here with a list of functions that are commonly performed. So in here, I believe, yep, EPB, electronic parking brake. So that is where we want to go. They have a blading procedure. That's if it works. Somebody, just because it's on here doesn't mean it's going to work on this vehicle, but we're going to go into electronic parking brake, and you have here electronic parking brake service tools, and you got electronic parking brake initialization. Let's go into service tools, see what happens, see what it tells us. Downloading. This application is used to perform a range of electronic parking brake service tools. Okay. So here we have apply electronic parking brake, apply left, apply right, enter maintenance mode. That's what we're going to go into. Then here it said release parking brake, release left, release right, exit maintenance mode. We want to go into maintenance mode. Turn the ignition switch on, engine off. Okay. Here it said vehicle is parked. It's in the park position. The ignition key, no, key on ignition. Jesus Christ. Key on engine off. Right, I couldn't even say that. Now you want to release the parking brake, which I believe the parking brake is released. Yes, it is. Let me make sure it is. No, it is. Yeah, all right, so it is. It is released. I just stepped on the brake, but I forgot the caliper off, so I don't want to pop the piston out. Ensure the brake pedal is not pressed. Of course, we're not going to do that. I don't want to pop my pistons out. So we hit OK, communicating with module. In progress. If somebody was back there, they'll be able to hear the motor actuator. I can't hear it, but I know it's doing its thing. So let it do its thing. We have some warning going on the dash. That's because it is messing with the module. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So that's normal. This application is used to perform, I know that. So we hit OK. What is done? Yes, it's done, because if you look on the dash, you have the brake light blinking, and then it's a warning that's gonna come up about the parking system. Not that. Oh, that's gonna come up. No, not that. No, I'm washing off fluid. No, I'm waiting for that warning to come up. But basically, you see that brake light blinking? That means that we are in maintenance mode, so we should be good to go. Park brake fault service now. So yes, we're in maintenance mode. So I believe we can turn the car off. We're gonna turn the car off, and the rest happen at the vehicle. Well, we are at the vehicle, but I meant at the brake pads, the brake caliper. Ooh, that might. This actually might be 13. So this guy is a 13. I believe that's why 13 kept popping in my head, because I remember one of these being a 13. But the back is a 13. And listen up. I want to break this loose first before I start ratcheting it. Okay. Want to stop definitely spinning. Let me see if I can hold it with my finger. No, I cannot. So I'm going to grab something of a vice grip up so it is spinning. Out, that's out. And we're going to do the same at the bottom. Going to do the exact same. Lock onto it. I'm going to go ahead and break it loose. Then use the driver to drive it off. That's off. Go ahead and grab my. I think that's gonna fit in there. How am I gonna back this out? My normal technique is not gonna work because it's too far out. Alright, I'm gonna find something real quick. Okay, once you remove the caliper, push your piston back, you want to remove the bracket. The bracket is a 15 millimeter. Obviously, we know how to remove the bolts now. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. So you remove that 250 millimeters bolts off the bracket, which is right here. Now you want to take this off. So that's why I say it's a little tricky on these cars, because this axle has to come out. This is an axle right here. This axle goes through the whole rear differential. So this has to come out. You cannot remove your rear rotors without moving this axle. So we're gonna remove these 15 millimeters. 2. That's 3. That's 4. And that's 5. See, these are a bit longer. So now what we want to do is this. We want to smack our rotor back a little bit, because if you look here, there's no gap. This is firmly attached onto this axle. So what we want to do is we want to smack the rotors back to create a gap, right? Once you create that gap, we're going to rotate the rotors or the axle to line up with these holes. So like the front one, you have the arch right here. See this arch? You want to line that up with this ears right here with this guy. So this has to be lined up with that. They all has to be lined up. But to do that, you have to disengage the rotor. So we're going to push this, we're going to smack this rotor backwards. So if you see right here, you see how it sits on this, it sits right here on this, this is a high point on the axle. It's on the high point. So you want to push it backwards far enough to where it's not hitting, it's not on the high point no more. So let me grab my hammer. You don't have to go through the differential to disengage this axle. It slides right out. So you can use a hammer and just slowly, lightly tap. And you want to have something here to collect that. But anyway, once you tap on this axle, it's going to come out. And when it come out, you want to just pull it all the way out. All the way out. All the way out. Yes, you have to do this to do your brakes. All the way out. So that is your axle. And that is your rotor. So your axle is out. Now you have to line up these holes. Not this holes, but this guy right here with the hole in the rotor. You have to line them up in order to get your rotors off, because if you don't, the rotor is not going to pass. Obviously you can't get the rotor to come up if it's hitting this, right? So you got to line up, you got to line them up. Once you line them up, it's going to come out. So I need 2 hands to line this up. Like I said, once you push it back, you should be good to rotate it. See where I got play in it? So I should be good at rotate it. But you just need to use 2 hands to hold this and rotate that, or hold that and rotate this. What? Can you rotate this? No, you cannot rotate that. Yes. Oh, yes, you can. Well, either one of them. You have to rotate either one to line these holes up. So I'll be right back. So as you can see, they're lined up. And I'm not going to lie, this is how I did it. I held onto the rotor. I used the hammer, tap on the side right here, and basically it pushed it far enough to where I'm able to line it up now. So now what you want to do is you just want to mess with your rotor and pull it out. You might have to tap on the rotor a little bit to get it off, because it has to pass over this bump. See this bump right here? The rotor's got to pass over it. So with all this being rusted, it's going to give you a little friction, a little trouble there. So I need 2 hands to do this also. You just want to mess with the rotor to try to get it up, because now you got the hole lined up, so it should be able to just slide out easy. If you have to, use your hammer to try to tap the back of the rotor to try to get it to come out more. So I need 2 hands for that. I'll be back again. So I'm gonna tell you how I did it. Obviously trying to wiggle it out was not working, so what I had to do was use the hammer to tap on the back. So I was smacking here, smacking up, smacking down. At some point when this got free, because at some point it will tighten up on you, but if you're able to free rotate it, smack it right here on the outside, obviously from back here, smack it back here, rotate on the opposite side, smack it back there, rotate it again, smack it back there. Keep doing it until you're able to get it off. If it gets tight on you to where you can't rotate it no more, then you want to use your hammer to smack on the back and plate back here. That's going to force it out too. So you want to use through the top, the back, left here until this finally come out. This is the rotors. Well, this is the rotor right here. That is a solid piece. It's not vented. That's solid, and that's how you. So now what you want to do is you can grab a wire brush or a sanding paper to try to clean the rust off here. Try to smooth it down, remove the rust, so your new rotor can slide on easily without having no friction, without bonding to anything else. Now once you clean back here, which is what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a sanding disc and just sand down here a little bit. So if you do the method I just told you, which was using a hammer to smack on the backing plate until they come off, you want to make sure you push this back. You want to go ahead and make sure you take it off. Or actually you have 1, 2, 3. You have 3 8mm bolts back here that holds the backing plate on. So if you remove that 3 8mm bolts, you can take the backing plate off. Once the backing plate come off, then you can just, all you're doing now is smacking on the rotor, so you don't have to actually smack on the backing plate. I didn't even see that until now, because I thought the bolt was on the inside, but it's actually on the outside. So, but I just saved you a little trouble. So remove the 3 bolts, the 8mm bolt that hold the backing plate on, and then you just smack on the rotors. Now I have to push my backing plate back because they got pushed forward. If I leave it like this and put the new rotor on and I go for a test drive, the rotor is going to be dragging on this, so I don't want it dragging. So I'm going to go ahead and use the hammer, or I can just use my hand like that, push it back, just push it back so it's not making contact with the rotor once everything is done. So I'm gonna go grab the new rotor, and then when you put in a new rotor on, obviously you want to line it up. You want to line the hose up again and slide it on, and then you put your axle back in, and you know you just put everything back on. So I went ahead and got my my new rotor and basically lined up the hole. Everything lined up here. There's nothing protruding over here. They all lined up evenly. The holes, the bolts seem to lined up. So this is the right rotor for the rear. This is the right rotor for the rear. The front is not the right rotor, so they have to take the front one back and bring me the right one. So I'm about to take that up front so they can exchange it. Basically, you want to do reverse to put it on. What you want to do, you grab your hub, line up the holes right there. It's going to slide down. Then you want to line up the holes in here. Boom. So right there, it's lined up perfectly fine. You want to line up this one, right, with the hose on the rotors. Not this. You're not lining this one up. You're lining this one right here with the thread on the rotors. So after you do that, you grab your. It's supposed to come with new bolts. Well, they did come with new bolts. The pad did, but it's the wrong one. So I'm going to reuse the old one right here. You just finger thread it so you don't cross thread it. Finger thread it so you don't damage the thread. So now that I got all 5 in, I'm going to go ahead and zip them down. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. So now you got your hub attached to your rotors. So now what you want to do, what I did too, I used a dice grinder, like angle grinder. It basically clean the inside because you want to get rid of the rust. This going to be rusted. That's why I had to smack the rotor to get it all out the hub. So basically you want to try to clean this up a little bit. If you have anti-seize, apply some anti-seize in here. Of course you want to make sure, because your wheel speed sensor is right here, you don't want to damage that. So you can either remove it and do a better cleaning and apply the anti-seize, and then put your wheel speed sensor back, because you don't want to damage that, or else you're gonna have to get a new one. So anyway, just clean this up a little bit, and then you're gonna go ahead and put the hub back on. So I'm trying to find a way that I can record this so you guys can see what I'm doing. So this is the best I can do, trying to record this. I got the phone sitting right here, hopefully it don't fall. And I'm gonna grab my hub and the rotor. And what you're doing, because on your hub, on your knuckle, you're gonna see 5 threaded holes with a thread on the knuckle itself. So you're going to line up these holes right here. These holes going to get lined up with the thread right here on your knuckle. So that's what you're lining up. So I'm going to go ahead and look, see what I'm doing. So another easy way to do this is I'm gonna hold on to it so it don't fall. You wanna grab, oh that's too far for me. Jeez, that's kind of far. Hopefully it don't fall because that's gonna be my ass. So I gotta hurry up, keep real fast. Make sure I see what I need before I leave it. Okay, I see what I need. I'm gonna hurry up and go grab it. I'm back. Alright. So what you wanna do, I got a new one. You wanna put this in the hole and make sure it lined up. And then try to thread it in first. So now I'm going to get the rest of my bolts. The last three. I'm going to install them. Now, you don't want to fully tighten the bolt. You want to do your start pattern first without fully tightening the bolt. So now I got it far enough where it's now tightened. I'm going to go on the opposite side. Go on the other side. Other side. Last. The reason why you want to do this is because you want to make sure your hub going evenly. You don't want to put the hub in and then you tighten the head at the top, out one bolt, and then now it's twisted like that. Then you go to tighten the other one, it can't move no more because that bolt up top is holding it. It's stopping it from moving. So you want to leave a little slack in it while you tighten all 5 bolts. That's gonna try to even out your it's gonna even out your hub so it goes straight. So it's not twisted nowhere. It goes in flat. Once you do that, then you can tighten everything now. That's one. That's 4. That's 5. I'm gonna go over it one more time. Let's stop 1. Let's stop 2. Let's stop 3. Stop 4. Stop 5. Now I'm going to use my impact to tighten it. Give it a spin to make sure it's spin freely. You don't got no bonding. It's not rubbing on your vacuum plate. I don't hear no noise, so we good. Now we're gonna put our caliper bracket back on, but I'm gonna clean this. To clean the brake hardware. Even though it came with a new one, this is not damaged. It's just dirty, so I don't have to replace it. I can just clean it. I use a wire brush to clean it. Look at you see here, that's a lot of dust. So you want to wear some mags or whatever it is, or spray it down. If you spray it down, you ain't gonna have no dust. So you can spray. You can use some soap and water or regular just water. Spray it down, and then go ahead and brush it. I don't have one close by right now, so that's why I ain't using it. But I know it's not safe, so you be safe. Do it the right way. That's clean. I have 2 new bracket bolts that I'm going to use. You want to install your bracket back on? Baby, give me that green light. So I got a couple thread in there. With hands, by hand. I'm going to grab my impact. 21mm impact. Go ahead and finish install our brake pads. I believe the brake pads, so your new brake pad may not have the hardware that you need on here. As you see on the old one, it got this guy right here. You want to transfer it, or if it came with a new one, use the new one. So my brake pads came with a new hardware that I'm gonna use. So what you wanna look at the old one and see how it's on, and then just do it on the new one. But basically, this knob's gonna be facing up. The other side. If you look on the inside, you see this groove right there. See that groove? That's where this gonna sit in. It's gonna sit in that groove right there, just like that. So we're gonna put our brake pad on. This guy right here that has this hole for the sensor, this is where the sensor goes. But on this vehicle, it only got one sensor in the front, it got one sensor in the back. So it's not on both sides. On some vehicles, it's on both sides. But this one it got on one side, which is the driver's side. So the passenger side don't have a sensor. So you don't have to worry about putting a sensor on here. So we just gonna leave it like that. But so when you putting your brake pads on, since you have these guys here, you want to go in like this at an angle. You don't want to go flat. It's not going to work. It's going to be stuck. It's not going to work. You go in at an angle like this, and then you want to push it in. So you push it in and then push it backwards. See that? So you go in at an angle like this. See this hardware? You want to push it against that, because that hardware going to get compressed. So when it get compressed, it's going to allow that brake pads to slide in. So that's why you want to push it forward, so you can compress the hardware. And then once you see that it's compressed, then you just push it backwards. It's going to slide right in there. So that's how you put the brake pads on. Now I'm about to put the caliper back on, which is, I got it stuck right there because it kept hitting, it kept falling yesterday, and I didn't want to get smacked in the head with it. So I'm about to grab the caliper. Actually, we have to push the piston back first. See this guy right there? These two guys, they got to get pushed back in order for you to put the caliper on your new brake pads. So this is called a ratcheting brake caliper piston compressor. So you just ratchet like this. It's gonna extend these two plates. Well, it's gonna extend one plate, which is this one. Whichever one has the thread, which is this guy has the thread, this is gonna get pushed out, forcing the piston back in. So you just ratchet it. Of course, you're gonna need two hands so you can hold your caliper from moving. I might be able to do it one hand. Seems like I can do it one hand. You can find this in any. You should be able to find this in any tool store. I believe AutoZone should have this. I know Harbor Freight has it, or you can go on eBay. eBay has it. I believe I got mine. I might have got mine off eBay or Amazon. If not, then I got it from Harbor Freight. But you just want to compress. I mean, keep ratcheting, and it's gonna push it all the way back. And then once you get to the end, you want to flip this switch, because this is the switch. This switch changes the direction of where high is going to ratchet. So now I gotta loosen it up. So now I flip the switch. I'm going to do it the opposite way. Well, now I'm flipping the switch. I'm flipping it the opposite way. Oh yeah, two hands. It's going to be easy doing using two hands. And then once you get it loose, it slides out. Come right out. Now that is done, we're gonna go ahead and put our caliper back on. It should slide right on, because it should slide on. But if you see it get stuck like that, you just gotta push these. You gotta push this guy back in, because this is gonna extend out. And if it extends out, it's gonna block the caliper from going on. So you just wanna push this in. It's gonna allow the caliper. You see back at how you see this one, how that's hitting. If you push it in, you can put your caliper on. See that? Then you grab your two bolt. Yeah, this is my two bolts. That's probably what this is. And I said, what's the wrong one? No, This is for the caliper. That wasn't for your hub. It was for the caliper. Okay, so that's good. I'm gonna line it up. Give me a couple threads in it. It's not lined up. All right, now it is, because I heard that little click noise. That little click noise means the bolt that slid in, it slid into the hole. So now line this one up too. And give me a couple. Yep, so now it's in there. And this was 15 millimeter. So I'm just gonna go as far as I can until it gets real tight. You don't have to, you can grab your 15 millimeter wrench, ratchet, whatever it is you got, and just put it on like that. But so now what you want to do, you're going to, well, in my case, I'm going to grab something to tighten this Foley, because I don't want to leave it like that. That's still loose. And go ahead and slide it on and tighten it. Okay, that's tight. Go ahead and do the bottom one. Okay, and that's tight. So basically, you're just gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. So that part I'm not gonna record because I want to get that done fast. So I'm not gonna record that side. But that's how I showed you how to remove the rotors. I showed you how to remove everything basically. Same thing with the bag. But the back here is done, but it's the same thing with the back. Like I said, you're removing these 5 bolts. Once you remove these 5 bolts, you're gonna use a hammer or whatever it is to tap your axle. This is the axle. So you're gonna use your hammer to tap this axle out. So it shouldn't be hard. You just give it a couple of taps, like dun dun dun. It's gonna pop out, and you want to put something here to catch some fluid, because some fluid is gonna leak out. So you want to put something down to catch that fluid, and this whole axle just gonna slide out. Once the axle slide out, you want to push. You want to hammer. Well, before you do that, remove these 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. It's 8 millimeters. That's to hold your backing plate on. So you remove the backing plate, and then you can use your hammer to smack this rotor backwards. Once you go back far enough, you should be able to rotate this axle and this rotor independently. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna line up this ear with this hole. You're gonna line them up, and then once you line it up, you're gonna smack this rotor from the back, smack it out, and it's going to just slide off, because now you have these 2 lined up to where the rotor is going to slide over it. All right, guys. So I just want to elaborate on the rear brakes a little bit. So to put everything back together on the back, you just want to grab your new rotors, slide your rotors on. Like I said, try cleaning up the hub a little bit. You can use like some wire brush or angle grinder or whatever it is that you got to clean that up. You just want to get rid of some of the rust that build up on the hub, because there is some rust on there. So once you clean that up, you want to slide your rotors on. Once you slide the rotors on, you want to rotate the rotor to line up the bolts hole. Like you see where the thread on the rotor, you want to line it up with the holes on the hub. And then once you line that up, you can use your bolt to like trying to assist you in that. Like what I usually do is I'll put the rotor on, and then I'll rotate it to try to line the holes up. And then I will take my bolt and slide the bolt through the hub. I will slide the bolt through the hub just to make sure that the holes lined up correctly with the threads on the rotors. Once I know that everything is lined up correctly, then I'll take my axle. The axle is the long shaft that we took out. I'll take my axle, put my axles in, and you're gonna realize that once you put in the axle in, it's gonna get stuck. You're gonna feel it stop, and once it stops, there's still gonna be a gap between the axle and the hub. So that because the axle is not fully inserted yet. So what you want to do is you want to tilt the axle upwards. Well, not sometimes you might have to tilt it sideways and up. But what's happening is that when you slide the axles in, it's gonna be at the bottom, because the hole that the axle go through to get into the differential is in the middle. So if you slide the axle in, it's going to be at the bottom of that hole. So by using some leverage and tilting the axle upwards a little bit while pushing forward, you're going to feel the axle actually going to pop in. It's going to go in. So once it goes in, you're going to see that little gap between the axle and then the hub just going to close out. So that's how you know that the axle is fully inserted. The brake pad, I believe it's the brake pads, not the road. Yeah, the brake pads actually came with, was it the brake pads? No, the hardware. So we end up buying some hardware from, not the dealer. I'm not exactly sure where my manager got it, but the hardware came with the five bolts that goes onto the axle, and it also came with an oil ring, because that axle has an oil ring on there. So if for some reason you see that the axle is leaking, like you got fluid leaking past the axle, it's an oil ring on there. Just replace that oil ring. So the kit that we bought actually came with the 5 axle bolt and the oil ring. So you want to replace that as well. Then you go ahead and install your axle. Once you got the axle in there, you want to put your 5 bolts in and just tighten the 5 bolts. And from there on, everything else is like a traditional brake job. You know, you put your brake pads in. After putting your brake pads in, like I said, you want to retract the caliper piston, because if it's pushed out a little too far, you won't be able to install your caliper over the brake pads, because that piston is going to be making contact. So you want to make sure that your caliper piston is pushed in far enough to where it's not going to make no contact with your brake pads. Once that's done, then you can slide your caliper over the brake pads, put your caliper bolts in. Of course, that's with the caliper bracket installed. So once you install the caliper bracket, and though you have 2 15mm bolts that goes onto the bracket, you install the bracket, put your brake pads in, install your caliper, and then put your caliper bolts in and just tighten everything down. So that's going to be the end of that job. And what you do on the passenger side is the exact same thing you're doing on the driver side. It's nothing different. Same thing with the front. Whatever you're doing on the passenger side in the front, you're going to be doing the exact same thing on the driver side and the front as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.